Laughter is the only thing that'll keep you sane.
Southwest Columbus Young Life sends out dozens of leaders all across our part of the city to win the friendship of lost teenagers.
As long as high school kids in our city mill around at ball games, looking for love in all the wrong places.
As long as they desperately seek an identity based on the opinions of friends and reputation.
As long as high school kids limp through the stands broken by family strife, enslaved by drugs, alcohol, and sex, I want to be found there.
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 Not in the adult section where it's respectable and controlled,
but right in the middle where passions, vulgar and profane, blurt out obscenity.
Where arrogant and reckless facades hide wounded hearts, filled with insecurity and fear.
I want to be found right in the middle of those kids, where God has positioned me to shine forth His grace, His hope, His love, and His truth.
As long as there is an enemy who can convince his victims that tomorrow doesn't matter, and that harm will not find them.
As long as God has rendered him a defeated foe, using in the weakest of us to shine a light that pierces the darkest places and brings rescue to the lost.
As long as the darkness is blasted away by the light of the world, the light that lives within all who follow.
And as long as there's such darkness, I'll man my post right in the middle of all that chaos.
Holding my position until He calls the last play and the lights fade out.
I remember the first time I met my Young Life leader.
It was the first event for Young Life when I was a freshman, and we were at a church running a club.
I met Megan through Young Life Club. My friend invited me to go, and I met her there.
My family was really chaotic growing up, and I feel like I didn't have any adult worth respecting, and Megan really stepped on the scene and was worth respecting. She cared about me in little ways, even down to like taking me on my first grocery shopping spree to get salt and pepper because I didn't have anyone to do that with.
I actually lived with him before I moved into the brick house. I did not live with my family, and I was not following Jesus at that time, and he still showed me grace.
Trevor was super kind. He cared for me in a different way. He loved me differently. He was just very caring.
I feel like she had such a welcoming spirit. It was just so easy to come to her and to talk to her, literally, about anything.
What intrigued me about my Young Life leader was that he seemed to care about us. I met him when he was my football coach, so yes, he was our coach, but it just seemed like he cared about us as people, and like he went out of his way to make us feel cared for and like make us feel seen.
If Megan was watching this, I would say that I literally know Jesus because she stepped on the scene and stepped in really messy spaces and just really was a reflection of Christ to me.
Thank you for believing in me more than I believed in myself.
If Megan was watching this, I would tell her how thankful I am for her and how I am just super glad that she never stopped believing in me and loving me well.
I would tell Sarah that she has been the most consistent friend in my life that I've ever had.
Dude, you mean more to me than I could ever say in words because it's by the grace of God I'm here today, but if it was not for Jacob, I don't know where I would be.
Megan Parton.
Alex Berlin.
Sarah Baxter.
Jacob Roberts.
Trevor Lindell.
Megan Parton.
If you've ever been to a football game in Columbus on a Friday night, you can't help but notice the two worlds that seem to be colliding. The adults in one section, and right next to them, that reckless, uncontrolled, often crude world where teenagers fill the student section. But if you've ever taken a moment to glance over at that world of teenagers, you may have noticed some seemingly random adults standing, cheering, and laughing amongst those high school kids. And there's a good chance that those adults are Young Life leaders. We do this with the hopes that we could step into students' lives, give them a meaningful confrontation with the God of the universe, and tell them the old story of Jesus and His love. As Young Life leaders, we journey to the high schools to fulfill the Great Commission, knowing that teenagers are lonely and hurting, and that like Jesus, we can learn their names and become their friends. It's not just at football games, it's throughout the week, at practices, or in the lunchroom, or at Steak and Shake, or watching games at Roosters, or discipleship through small groups. Almost anywhere teenagers are, you can find a Young Life leader there. We want to be right in the middle of all the chaos. Every time we show up at the school, those two worlds collide. Light collides with darkness, joy collides with sadness, and life collides with death. That is the privilege that we have as Young Life leaders here in Southwest Columbus. We get to love hurting teenagers and be part of their story. And as Jesus grabs their hearts, we get to watch them pass from death to life. It is worth every penny that we spend, every ounce of time and energy that we give, because kids' lives are being changed for eternity. When you sit in the stands on any given Friday night underneath the lights and look towards the student section, it appears to be teeming with life, laughter, and smiles. But when the lights go down and the laughter fades, the real stories emerge. Broken families, hurtful friendships, and innocence lost. But it is in this place where a Young Life leader's friendship becomes authentic, trust is won, and teenagers discover that they are not alone.
And my life has never been the same.
And I will never be the same.
And I will never be the same.
And my life has never been the same.
And my life has never been the same.